Okay, traders, there was a really interesting rumor that spread quickly this morning and set stocks this morning higher before clearly we started to roll over again. And that is, and this it lands squarely on the 30-year bond as well as the 10-year note. And you can even look at the 2-year note. All right. All of which are heading lower. And the idea here is that we're going to see Operation Twist come back. Now, what's really interesting is the person who I believe sort of not started the rumor, but was discussing this type of plan was a Bank of America strategist who also used to be a New York Fed staffer. So, you know, there's some good credibility as to why now would make sense. And perhaps with Powell talking tomorrow, this is going to be the last time probably we hear from Powell until we get the next meeting, which is still about 13 days away. All right, this is the March 17 meeting. The interesting thing about Operation Twist, and if you're not familiar with it, let me give you a quick little Cliff Notes explainer. All right, so this is what Operation Twist is. It's not as aggressive as quantitative easing, QE, but it's literally trying to twist the yield curve, all right, by buying the longer-term treasuries and selling the shorter-term treasuries. In other words, you bring the yields down longer term, you bring the yields up shorter term, all right? So that's the idea of Operation Twist. And if the Federal Reserve is going to start to prepare the market for it, I'd say just a couple of Fed speakers or Fed events that we had going into the close, I believe it was Harker and Evans, were both very dovish in terms of not looking at rate hikes anytime soon, or in 2022, which I believe was Harker's soundbite, and Evans and Harker both, I believe, mentioned things like yield curve control are amongst the possible tools that they could use. All right, so we're already seeing some members starting to prepare. And if Powell comes out and just commits to this Operation Twist, stocks will like it. All right, so let's go back to the charts here. Let's go back to the long bond, the ZB. That would mean the ZB would likely continue to consolidate or maybe move higher, because what is this? If we start to see the FOMC, the Federal Reserve, buy the longer term yield, this will start to move higher. Yields and the direction of the bond market are opposite. Yields go up while the direction of the actual bond market goes down. So what we want to see is that the yields head lower, right? So we're looking for this market for yields to head lower while the bond market, right? That's what will be the confirmation of that, moves higher. So if you're looking for confirmation of Operation Twist, I mean, take a look at the ZB futures contract and take a look at the ZN futures contract. Now, what's going to benefit in this environment if that happens? Gosh, gang, everything. But I would pay particular attention to markets that have been hit the most recently. And I think the NAS might disproportionately benefit from this, perhaps bouncing from technically where we are right now, an oversold level. I have the NASDAQ oversold closer to a +1 standard deviation right here, just below, not quite reverting to the mean, but just below a +1 standard deviation. And you'll notice we're just about there. So the timing would be about right if we were to see the Federal Reserve start to hint at this announcement and at least some stabilization in the NAS, which would in turn help the Dow and the S&P, because the Dow and S&P have been holding their own despite the fact that the tech market, which is the #1 weighted sector within them both, are very heavily weighted within the Dow and heavily weighted within the S&P, are kind of dragging them down. So just tech calming down would allow the S&P and the Dow, which have been benefited from strength in financials and strength in energies, to rally even more strongly. But I would say you might see some bargain hunting happen in the NQ. And and the XLY, consumer discretionary. So there's a lot of implications for where we could look for Operation Twist to benefit certain segments of the market that have been hit pretty hard. But this is what Operation Twist is. A lot of expectation that this could happen. And we'll find out tomorrow, just after noon, for that Wall Street Journal event that will likely be the last appearance for the Fed chair before the meeting on the 17th. I'll see you in the next update.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me